Have you ever wondered if the people around you are truly sincere? Sometimes they say nice things, and smiles can conceal deceit and envy, yet we frequently believe we can tell who is. In reality, this isn't always the case, though, as jealousy and since lying can be easily concealed. Those who harbor these emotions are the most vulnerable. For instance, let's state, when everyone at work congratulates you on a significant career accomplishment, why do you feel like there's a problem? Maybe someone in the crowd is concealing these subtle but powerful indicators can help you recognize the jealousy beneath their congrats. Potential for dishonesty and envy in today's movie. I'll give you 10 useful methods for identifying dishonesty and jealousy in others. These methods, which have their roots that have persisted for thousands of years and are rooted in the profound teachings of Stoic philosophy, will not only help you in developing mental clarity and emotional control, but they will help give you the tools to identify and address the dishonesty of others and jealousy. Before we start the film by using these concepts, you will not only grow more resilient, but also more intelligent in creating and maintaining relationships. These strategies will protect you from toxic relationships and help you in making your life happier and more peaceful. I want to give you a small task. Watch the Until the End video. Please make sure you don't overlook any of the teachings, as they are all crucial to living a whole and tranquil life. When you're ready to explore, live your life and stick to your choices. The deep understanding of Stoic philosophy. Kindly inform me in the space provided for comments. Observe their behavior, which is one of the core principles of Stoicism, below number 1. Philosophy is the practice of believing in a person's actions rather than their words, is the greatest way to determine their goals and character, even though words can be utilized to. Actions speak louder than words when one manipulates, conceals, or even lies. Monitors people and detects the differences between their actions and words, even when someone appears to be friendly, and despite their words of encouragement, their behaviors can be conveying a different message. For instance, it's possible for a co-worker to publicly commend you on your achievements while privately disparaging or criticizing your work behind your back. What you do, not what you say, shows a Marcus Aurelius famously remarked, "Waste no more time on people's true intentions." When debating what constitutes a good man, one's deeds are unquestionable proof. Considering this, have you ever had a sense of someone's actual character? Have you ever come across someone who committed to helping but never followed through on their promises? These contradictory acts are blatant indications of dishonesty. It may have its origins in jealousy. This behavior exhibits dishonesty and unreliability. Consider how people act when they think no one is looking or when there is no danger. You'll most likely gain a better understanding of their true nature because their actions speak louder than words ever could. It is necessary to distinguish between genuine and covert intents. We can better grasp the depth by using courteous language and prioritizing actions over words. Regarding an individual's personality, this method not only allows us to identify the genuine nature of our associates and acquaintances, but it also forces us to think about our personal conduct as our deeds, not just our words. Establish who we are. Number 2, assess how they react to your success, and see how others react to your achievements in day-to-day life. Reveal their true feelings when they see others. People that are jealous often display jealousy and struggle. In an effort to hide their discomfort, they could try to undermine your achievements by making false compliments or unwarranted criticism while privately feeling. There is a phrase that states that the only person you should strive to be better than is yourself if you're not happy. Those that truly admire and encourage you will be delighted to see you yesterday. Progress and achieve success, since they recognize that every one of your achievements is a step in your quest for personal development. which not only strains relationships, but also exposes those that oppose you on the opposite side have darker sides to their personalities. Hand will see your accomplishment as a danger or proof that they lack strength. Working hard enough, go back to the last significant accomplishment you made and how those close to you answered. You can determine who is genuinely intelligent and sincere on their answers. Because they are aware of how hard you have worked, supportive individuals will celebrate with you and recognize your achievements. Their comments are usually encouraging, kind, and free of. However, those who are jealous or dishonest will attempt to minimize or dispute your achievements because they could propagate false tales and provide unfair criticism or even attempt to undermine your achievements, as the Stoic philosophy instructs us. Should focus on our own personal development and let go of what we cannot control, and developing sincere connections instead of being caught up in a vicious cycle of lies and jealousy. One can determine if someone is honest by looking at how they react to your achievements as well as by observing their treatment of those with less status. Let's proceed to the lesson. Third, they might subtly criticize you or minimize your achievements, thinking you're rejecting your efforts and your achievement is a fluke. What do you do when you discover number 3? See how someone in your life is envious and dishonest. Engage with those who cannot help them. It's enlightening to observe how people act in a way that doesn't give them any genuine advantages in terms of resources, relationships, or influence. This kind of discussion reveals a lot in any social or professional context. Deep understanding of an individual's inner nature can be obtained by examining their morality and character. Evaluate the sincerity and integrity of interactions by treating someone who doesn't appear to have anything in return, and a deeper comprehension of this can facilitate interactions. A person's true character can be ascertained by seeing how they, in these interactions, show genuine kindness to those who are unable to assist you. Empathy and respect are often signs of someone who appreciates others for who they are more concerned with their behavior integrity and consistency than with what they can do for them. And sincerity are demonstrated by people who show consideration and respect for everyone. Regardless of their social status or potential advantages, they're individual. This consistency clearly indicates values. True empathy is shown by showing compassion and tolerance to others who are unable to repay the favor. Indicates that the person values connections over business and has faith in their inherent value. Dependability and credibility are often demonstrated by an individual's readiness to show respect to everyone. Even if they are unable to reciprocate, their behavior suggests that they are less likely to exploit or exert influence over others' relationships and interactions. With others with less influence or authority, may have an impact on how others see and evaluate them. It is possible to build stronger, more sincere relationships and enhance one's reputation. You can discover a lot about people's true motivations and personalities by treating them with respect. Focusing on these elements, and you can utilize this information to direct your interactions and choices in a number of number 4 of social and professional contexts, makes a distinction between. It's important to understand the difference between flattery and praise in order to create solid connections and good communication, whereas flat means excessive charming comments that are commonly used to manipulate or win favor. Praise is the essence of acknowledgement of someone's achievements, efforts, or qualities while preserving their authenticity, and recognizing these differences promotes goal acknowledgement and builds trust in discussions. Designed to recognize and honor sincere efforts, accomplishments, or qualities that it expresses appreciation and sincerity. Flattery that is often inspired by flattering or dishonest praise as a means of manipulation or self-interest to obtain backing or sway. True and accurate praise It is based on a fair assessment and highlights real achievements or qualities. Flattery may be overly general and impersonal. It usually involves general, overly ebullient praise that may not accurately convey emotions. Impacting interpersonal relationships are strengthened when mutual respect and trust are fostered. Ties between individuals. It fosters positive interactions, and long-term professional partnerships may suffer from. If flattery is perceived as being phony, it may damage real relationships. By creating an environment of distrust or manipulation, and frequency of recognition, given appropriately and when deserved. Courtesies that are appropriate for the situation and represent genuine contributions could be inappropriate and intrusive. It usually occurs when the person complimenting you wants something in return. The recipient is encouraged by the return response and input compliments, and often receives a positive response. It is acknowledged and honored, and it is flattering. If the recipient senses dishonesty, it could make them uncomfortable or doubtful. Gaining an understanding could lead to shame or a loss of trust. Of these distinctions encourages sincere dialogue and the creation of profound. Number 5, courteous interactions, consistency monitoring, and the process of ensure communication, and the conduct rules are uniform and in line with all platforms and levels among people or within an organization are known as monitoring consistency. It is crucial to maintaining reliability, building trust, and ensuring that everyone involved receives the same. Being constant in one's communication, decisions, and actions is vital for establishing trust and preserving a steady atmosphere in the communication and leadership context. Align communication with. Make sure your words and deeds reflect misunderstanding and mistrust could be the consequence of erratic communication. If you endorse a set of convictions or behaviors, you should consistently behave in a manner that aligns with those convictions. Unambiguous guidelines are established by clear instructions and expectations. For behavior and communication inside your team or business, be sure that everyone understands these guidelines and that they are constantly adhered to. This helps avoid misunderstandings and ensures that everyone is in accord. Keep an eye on and review often to ensure that communications and activities are consistent by looking over them on a frequent basis, which include evaluating choices made, communications sent, and regular monitoring of how policies are implemented. Makes it simpler to identify anomalies and take prompt remedial measures to address irregularities promptly. As soon as disparities are discovered, adopt immediate action, which can involve updating guidelines, altering exercises, or increasing the clarity of signals. And taking prompt response maintains order and prevents small issues from becoming important ones. Promote an input-friendly culture and ask others to contribute remarks about your conduct and communication. An open environment that welcomes criticism and the identification of areas that are inconsistent and provides opportunities for continued maintaining consistency in speech and behavior throughout growth is essential to boosting self-esteem and ensuring that you can lead successfully a more stable and cohesive atmosphere by implementing these strategies. When evaluating someone, take into account their behaviors and activities in a variety of. Speaking is simple, regardless of the circumstances and if their claims are supported. However, when assessing someone, it's crucial to take into account that acting is more difficult. Whether their behavior aligns with their professed principles and beliefs, or if they change them to suit their situations or individual goals. Stoic philosophy promotes us to assess people according to their behavior, since it's a practical way of the ability to recognize those who are dishonest and jealous, often struggle to maintain this consistency when they are around people they need to exploit. They might seem sincere and compassionate, but when those individuals are no longer helpful to them, they become icy and cruel. For instance, someone can appear sincere and give you public praise, of others, but behind your back, they might grumble about your accomplishments, and you might observe strange actions when they give you compliments. This doesn't happen only once, but repeatedly. Avoid drawing conclusions too quickly when you observe an unusual. Proceed with caution. It's crucial to determine if these are solitary occurrences, or how consistent are their acts if they follow a recurrent pattern. Differently while you're not present, which is blatantly dishonest and envious. Keep an eye out to see if another way to evaluate someone is to see how they interact with others. Actions that contradict words are a pattern. Consistency. An honest individual will treat others with respect rather than favoring one over another for personal benefit. Treating everyone equally, with dignity, and without bias based on personal conduct that is consistent with one's interests, reflects one's honesty and dependability. We are halfway through our trip, and I appreciate you being here. Support is a fantastic way for us to share the Stoic philosophy's true values to more. In order to help your friends and family learn these lessons, please like and share this video. The development of a more contented and tranquil world. Always leave a comment with "pay close attention" to let us know when you're ready to become stoic and energetic, so that you can continue your adventure with the "Do you have any examples of a partner acting inconsistently in the next 5 lessons? If not, be wary, as these individuals can be concealing jealousy. Number 6. Examine their demeanor when they get criticism. Understanding how they handle it might yield valuable insights. Understanding of their emotional and mental situations, you can modify your communication approach according to how they react to criticism, but it also fosters a more constructive and compassionate dialogue of concepts. This information is crucial for maintaining goodwill and ensuring that feedback is delivered and received as effectively as possible. Monitor your feelings and aware of any immediate emotional responses, including shame, rage, or defensiveness. These reactions can provide insight into an individual's emotional resilience and how they manage. Critique your body language and pay attention to non-verbal clues such unspoken feelings, stooped over, avoided eye contact or crossed arms, and body language often conveys attitudes, so pay attention to what they must say. Look at the language and tone they employ when responding to criticism. Are they being overtly antagonistic, contemptuous, or passive-aggressive? Could indicate that they are open to feedback and desire to create a successful. Assess whether they are open to participating in the conversation. Discussing the criticism, or if they steer clear of it while withdrawing, could be a sign of suffering or denial. Being open to taking part suggests that one is ready to improve and analyze their response over time. Watch how ongoing criticism reactions cause them to change their perspective. That are always bad could necessitate a different approach, but gains over time can show progress and effective communication. By closely monitoring these factors, you can modify your feedback, giving approach more successfully and encourage a more positive. Pay close attention to inadvertent similarities in dialogue. Number 7. Comparisons have a minor impact on how people understand and interpret messages. These parallels can occur in communication when we unintentionally draw potentially harmful similarities. These parallels between oneself, other people, or situations can impact conversations and exchanges more sympathetically and effectively. Can be promoted by recognizing and resolving these similarities in comprehension of nuanced comparisons. Recognize that even when we don't express it aloud, they may. However, take note of how language and surroundings may gently contrast. The effects of people or situations on unintentional comparisons can cause emotions of inadequacy or jealousy, which can diminish one's self-esteem. Self-esteem. Take into account how your comments and comparisons might affect other people's compassion. As you approach interpersonal interactions with empathy, keep in mind how others could take your comments. Make sure your goals are clear and avoid comparisons that could come across as patronizing or disrespectful. By clearly stating your goals, you may ensure that your comparisons are constructive rather than detrimental. Positive interactions are promoted by clarity and preventing misunderstandings. Shift the focus from drawing comparisons to highlighting each individual's distinct skills and achievements, rather than contrasting one situation another from one individual to another. Highlight their unique qualities in our daily life. Often encounter unintentional parallels. According to Stoicism, these, in addition to being informal comments, similarities can also be signs of covert jealousy and deceit. When someone inadvertently compares you to others, could divulge more personal information about themselves than about you. Comparisons frequently originate from feelings of envy and insecurity, such as if a co-worker regularly compares your performance to others, it could mean that people that constantly compare you to others may be trying to intimidate you by your progress. Reduce your worth by making you feel unworthy of being heard and understood. One useful technique to identify jealousy and insincerity is to use these analogies. People usually utilize this behavior to hide their weaknesses and give the impression that they are supremacy. Think about the following situation. You acquire a big job, achievement in work, but rather than being congratulated, a colleague comments like, "These are nice, but I believe John is still superior." This is a jealousy technique. Instead of making a light-hearted comparison, your coworker might be attempting to downplay your accomplishment out of jealousy. You may determine who is actually rooting for you by hearing real friends respect you for who you are and don't feel the need to compare you to others. The urge to evaluate you against others in order to express gratitude or respect for. When you hear disparaging comparisons, think about the people who are in your life most often, makes unintentional analogies, and asks if you should believe them. Believe that the Stoic school of thought pushes us to view them as external factors that are beyond of control. Controlling this difference obviously allows us to maintain our inner, "Please enjoy the movie," serenity if you do. If not, please comment so that we can discuss it and check to see if there is more to it. Number 8. Pay attention to. Stoicism, in their responses to personal setbacks, highlights that failure is a strong indication of a person's personality and true objectives, as well as an assessment of, you may rely on and look up to individuals who are genuinely patient and mature. Strong and sincere, they accept defeat and work to get better rather than placing blame. Others, or attempting to conceal their errors, they understand that failing is an unavoidable aspect of life and that it offers chances for development and self-improvement. On the other hand, people who are dishonest or jealous respond to failure very differently. They seek to conceal and defend their acts, sometimes even making them up, rather than owning up to their mistakes. Have you ever told falsehoods or made fun of somebody to boost their egos? Have you ever come across someone who constantly assigns responsibility for their issues to others? If so, have you considered this may be a symptom of envy and dishonesty? Pay attention to these clues. To make this more obvious, an honest individual will not think twice about. While a dishonest person would always defend their ego and steer clear of the situation, an honest person will recognize their shortcomings and work to improve. Truth. When someone fails, do they own up to their errors and show a desire to grow and shift, or do they shirk accountability and place the blame elsewhere? Icada once remarked that the most hardship occurs when someone's sincere. This, quote, essence is revealed, sums up Stoic philosophy wonderfully, by reminding us that how someone handles failure reveals a lot about them. Take some time to observe how reactions to failures from those close to you are never fooled by flimsy remarks or actions. Have you encountered any circumstances similar to those I've detailed? If therefore, I would appreciate it if you could like the video and leave some thoughtful comments below. To hear from you, number 9, assess their sharing knowledge of people's communication styles and how this impacts their personal information. Relationship confidentiality and personal boundaries are essential when discussing how. By examining these sharing customs, we can determine how people exchange personal information. Learn more about the nuances of communication and the need of taking other people's comfort into consideration. Zones that respect individual space boundaries that define a person's personal privacy are the limitations on the kind of personal information they will share and with whom evaluations establish whether individuals respect one another's limits and how effectively they communicate. Maintaining privacy is crucial to maintaining trust-based relationships. Techniques of definition of an exchange in writing, emails, texts, and social media and voice communication are instances of sharing methods that are evaluated. Take into consideration how different modes affect the security and perception of shared information. For example, posting private information on social media could reach a wider audience than you had anticipated. Appropriateness and the intended setting definition, the context in which information is presented, affects its impact and suitability. Evaluation of sharing, e.g., personal versus professional contexts, establishes if the place and timing of the information sharing are appropriate for the target audience. And the material revealing private information in a professional setting could create clumsiness or transgressions of the agreement and independence. By definition, autonomy is the ability to manage one's own information. On the other hand, consent means giving permission before disclosing someone else's information review to see whether people respect their individual freedom in making decisions about details to reveal about oneself, and if they obtain permission before doing so, knowledge regarding others' impact on the definition of interpersonal relationships when limits are violated. Disclosing private information might lead to issues instead of fostering confidence in. When evaluating partnerships, take into account how interpersonal dynamics are impacted by. While there may be negative consequences, such as pain or a breach of trust, the release of personal information. Increased trust and a deeper understanding of the relationship are possible outcomes, and manage the complex relationships involved in exchanging personal data in a range of situations by considering these elements. According to Marcus Aurelius, a person's spirit is colored by the hue of their thoughts. Their manner of providing information not only displays their innermost feelings, but also shows clearly whether they are sincere or dishonest, as the Stoic philosophy implies. If we observe how someone talks about their successes and failures, a genuine person would do it in a modest way, emphasizing the lessons they have learned from their experiences. However, a dishonest individual usually exaggerates or even fabricates their accomplishments in. Therefore, in order to influence and impress others, we need think about whether the somebody seems overly pleased with their accomplishments, or if they emphasize unimportant details to bolster their trustworthiness, and evaluate their speech patterns. Regarding their shortcomings, because a sincere individual won't feel scared to admit a dishonest person, on the other hand, typically refrains from speaking about their mistakes and the lessons they've learned. Regarding their errors, or if they do, assigns the blame to someone else. Unpredictable events instead of taking accountability. This is a clear sign of insincerity and internal strife when someone disseminates inaccurate or spreading false information in an attempt to sway people's opinions and cause mayhem that mirrors their own. Talking about flaws and insecurities in casual discussions is more than simply petty tactics. However, as we grow more sensitive, we also see signs of envy and a warped soul. By identifying these indicators, we may more easily safeguard our souls from jealous people or bad influences. If something makes you pause and consider not doing it frequently, disseminate malicious personal information about others. They might even disclose the secrets that have been entrusted to them, which leads to lesson number 10. To become more aware of your own ideas, feelings, and intuition, pay attention to your inner voice. Is to be conscious of your inner experiences and allow that to guide you in listening to your inner voice. By directing your actions with self-awareness, you can lead a better living a true and meaningful life by adhering to your own principles and objectives. Cultivate self-awareness by reflecting and practicing mindfulness for a while. Learn more about your emotions, desires, and moral values by interacting with journaling, meditation, and silence can help you connect with your inner voice. It's common to reflect and believe your gut feelings and intuition. Methods for your inner voice to communicate, acknowledge, and trust these small clues. Even if they don't make sense or appear unusual, consider your basic beliefs and ideals to learn what's actually important to you. Let these guidelines guide your decisions and actions so that they reflect your true self and that they reduce outside noise. External pressures and diversions that could drown out your inner voice. Create a peaceful environment and set aside some time for yourself so that you can hear all that's happening within the act. On your observations when you've mastered the art of listening to your inner voice and acting upon its guidance by making sensible choices. Applying what you've learned improves the connection between your external and internal conduct. Do you have any personal experience with this situation? If so, stop and listen to your inner voice. It can be a sign that you are being warned of dishonesty. If jealousy from that someone, you have a co-worker who typically appears nice and wanting to help, yet you're uncomfortable around them when you're feeling suspicious or worried about someone who is acting on your sixth sense without a good reason. Your instincts play a crucial role in protecting you from potential dangers. When you feel that anything is off, take some time to think and examine under what conditions does this individual always attempt to surpass you, or do they regularly provide false, nonetheless, even seemingly unimportant actions may indicate jealousy and deceit if the justification is evident in their contradictory words and deeds. One question to consider is why I feel uneasy. This could be a warning indication from your intuition if you're near this person. You work with a co-worker who is generally considerate and concerned about you, but you still feel uneasy around them. Never undervalue your inner voice. It's a useful and strong instrument. You can see the difference between individuals who are truly decent and those who are only acting that way. Yet while the inner voice is crucial, but don't disregard the voice of reason. Balance the two to discover a point of agreement and pay attention to the little things you could have missed. Perhaps they often, even when they don't outright criticize you, they frequently make insidious comments about other people's shortcomings and compare themselves to you. Even if you are aware of jealousy, you sense an underlying competition in this situation. Because lying is challenging, but it's a necessary ability to protect ourselves. And our true principles in life, there are envious and dishonest people everywhere. Context, encompassing close connections and regular social exchanges on that they might harbor conflict, stoicism, and feelings of uneasiness within, helps us live sensibly and stoically by applying Stoic ideals. We can identify and eliminate negative things from our lives, but remember that people who don't truly care about you should be avoided since life is too short. Methods we've discussed today to identify and avoid envious and dishonest people, because you deserve a thank you for taking the time to view my life, which is full of happiness, peace, and healthy connections. Please share this movie with your friends and family to help them build a better life together. To ensure you don't miss any more interesting content from us, Please remember to click like and subscribe. Apply at least one of these strategies to your daily life, then come back here and write, "I did it." Let the Stoic philosophy serve as your guide by listening to you and hearing your ideas about the changes in your life. As you navigate life, discovering peace and strength along the path.